Hello, everybody. So that video, that's our little intro video. My middle son actually did that video for us. He actually investigates with me too, so that's kind of cool. The song that's on there, the name of that song is Ghostbusters Rock. So I just figured it was appropriate. So before we get started on anything day, I want to take a little moment to pay a little tribute to one of the best of the field that we lost this week. We lost Dan Riviera this week. I don't know if you guys knew him, but I consider Dan a friend, and I never actually got to meet him. I was actually going to meet him in October at the Rock Island Paracon. We was both going to be there, so that was the first time. But I talked to him on the phone a lot, and not just about paranormal. But so I just want to pay a little respect to Dan, and let everybody know at New England Society and everything that they're in my prayers, and his family and everything. So for just a second, here we go. So that's Dan. He was also a veteran, which I'm a veteran. That picture is actually for Rob. Rob, I hope you don't mind. I stole your picture, but Dan was one of the good ones. He's one of the ones that he'd help out anybody. So that's what made Dan special. And unfortunately, we have these sad people in the paranormal field who try to use everything to their advantage. So we got people trying to instead of honoring the man, they're trying to blame Annabelle and everything else. So I think that we just need to take a minute to honor Dan. He was a good guy. And so, all right. So until we meet again, Dan, love you. All right. So let's get going. So I always start out the podcast. First of all, I forgot to do this part. Everybody, welcome to Paranormal Addicts, Season 2, Episode 22. Mike and Marty are my guests today. We'll start out like we always do, guys. Just introduce yourself to everybody, and then we'll go from there.
I'm Marti Parry, and I'm a psychic artist, and this is my husband.
Hi there. Hi, guys. I'm Michael Parry.
He talks a bit.
And
all right. So I always start out with just some icebreaker questions, to get everything rolling. So the first one is still kind of relevant to you. The second one maybe not so much, but we'll tackle that when we get there. The first question is, what is your favorite location that you've been to? And what location would you like to go to?
Oh, favorite location.
I think mine was that we went to this house in England. We were there once, and it's supposedly
it's like
the most.
It's really
haunted.
old. It's like I don't know. I think it was like 600 years old, and they hung a bunch of people there, and that was a pretty haunted place. Yeah,
a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, I can't even remember the name of it now, but it was.
It's supposed to be the most haunted place in England.
Man, that'd probably be really haunted because England's got a lot of haunted locations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we actually. So you guys are coming down for my Paranormal Expo. I don't use the Paracon word because there's so much negative associated with Paracons. So I decided to embrace the positive and call it a Paranormal Expo. But we have one of the things that we will have there that you guys will get to see. You actually get to see it before anybody else. I have a couple of good friends in Scotland and England, and one of them makes custom Ouija boards. And he actually made two. One's going to be my personal Ouija board. Not that I use a Ouija board that much, but I like having it. But and then the other one we're going to put up for a silent auction at the expo. But he actually custom made it. He used the wood and ashes for one of the famous haunted castles there in England. So So it's actually a really special board. So yeah,
that's why that roof fell in that castle.
remind me after the show, guys, and I'll send you the video. He sent me a video about the whole process of him making it. I'll send you guys the video so you can see it. I mean, it's actually really special. And then we also got a set of I just went blank. It will come to me eventually. So the silent auction is important to me because all the proceeds from the silent auction go to charity.
Okay.
So like I donate 10% of the ticket sales to charity, and then everything from the silent auction goes to charity. So that's important to me. And this year, charity is actually, I mentioned earlier that I suffer from a chronic condition. My condition is Chiari malformation. Is what I suffer from, and our charity this year is actually the Conquer Chiari Foundation. So it's kind of important to me. Last year, the first 2 years, we donated to spouse abuse shelters, and that's important to me too. But this one's like personal. So anyway, enough about that for now. So
I thought of another place that is my favorite place was the Queen Mary.
Yeah.
In Long Beach.
Yeah, the Queen Mary actually.
Been there.
I think that might be the favorite.
Yeah.
We had a lot of stuff happen on there.
Queen Mary is definitely on my bucket list.
Great.
I've been investigating now for 33 years, and so I've been to a lot of my places, but I had to slow down. I had to slow down like 6 years ago, because I had my brain surgery, and when I had my brain surgery, I actually took a year off. I didn't do anything for a year. I had to learn to walk and everything again, talk. Yep. So I didn't honestly know if I would ever be back. And
well, we're glad you are.
I thank you. I am too. So a friend of mine started talking to me because I started doing I used to do this. I used to investigate. I like to again. And she finally looked at me and she's like, "Let's just put a team together and do it." So my team now is Ken 10 Paranormal, which stands for Kentucky, Tennessee Paranormal, because we're based in Western Kentucky and Northwest Tennessee, and that's how we came to be. And yeah, so actually, of all my teams I've been involved in, this is my favorite team. We're like a family, so that makes it special, And so, yeah. So,
yeah. Do you have a special car? Do you have a special car? Like Ghostbusters. You have a special car. You have a special car.
Well, so my favorite location. Everybody always assumes I'm just going to say Waverly Hills because I'm from Kentucky, and I like Waverly Hills. I've been there 6 times now, including the recent trip last week. And but actually, my favorite location I've ever been to is a location that they don't even let you investigate anymore, and it's in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, way on the other side of Kentucky, and it's called the. And of course, when I say my favorite location and my bucket list location, I don't ever include residential or private locations because that's about helping the people. That's not about so my private it was called the Anderson Hotel, and the reason it's my favorite is because it was highly active, but it was highly violently active. It was a violent place. But what you have to understand, I don't guess you have to understand, but what you need to understand about it is they wanted it to be that way. So when we got there, so before we even went there, they had been shut down for 3 years, and when they reopened, we were the second team to go see it. Well, they already had all these videos and everything about how the ghosts bite, yada yada yada. And so we get there, and they take us on the tour of the place, like they always do. But they have five verified deaths there. And when I say verified, I take my reputation very seriously. So when I verify something, I verify it by the coroner report, the police report, and the newspaper. So when I say verified, it's verified. So they have 5 verified deaths there. Of the 5 verified deaths, they have 3 of the bloodstained mattresses still there for the suicides. They have a bloodstained bathtub from the other suicide. And the fifth suicide, he lived there. So the Anderson Hotel is a transit hotel, so people live there and stuff. He lived there, and he drunk himself to the point that he hung himself in the closet. And all of his liquor bottles are still there. So something that I need to disclose before we continue with the story. I have a gift. I'm a clairvoyant. Everybody else tells me I'm a medium, but I'm more comfortable with the clairvoyant title. Whatever title you want to give me, I'm gifted. Not as gifted as you guys, but I'm definitely gifted. I'm still learning to use mine, if that makes sense. I didn't have a lot of support growing up, so I'm still in that learning process. But
never stop learning.
Yeah. So we go through the tour, and the first thing I do is I go into the closet where the guy committed suicide. And as soon as I entered the closet, all my energy is drained from me, and I hit the ground. They have to pull me out of the closet. So that's how the investigation started. Well, the next thing we did, we went to the bathtub, and the story behind the bathtub was this 35-year-old mother checked into the hotel just to commit suicide, and she committed suicide in the bathtub. The reason she committed suicide was her husband and her son had just been killed in a mining accident. So that was her response. Well, like I said, they kept the bloodstained mattress. And so I'm a very respectful investigator. I talk to the spirits just like I'm talking to you. So I'm asking the spirit if I can talk to them, and they say yes or no. And I was like, I can't do both. So I get in the bathtub and I start talking to them. Well, my other rule is if you tell me to leave, I don't necessarily leave the first time, but if you tell me 3 times, I would leave, or at least move on. So we keep going, and finally we get to the 3rd time of the lady telling me to leave. So as I got ready to leave, it's one of the old-fashioned bathtubs with the claw feet, So I'm having to lift myself out of the bathtub, and as I'm lifting myself out of the bathtub, I feel what feels like a really deep Indian burn on my calf. And so when we get back to our makeshift base, where we have electricity and lights, we look at it, and it looks like a bite mark. And it actually looks like a double bite mark. I actually got a tattoo of it if you guys want to see it.
It's not on your butt, is it?
It's in his leg.
Oh.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Some people said I was crazy for getting it tattooed, but I wanted it to always be with me. So, I've actually been told it was I put the sign of the devil on me. I'm like, you people are crazy. I love educating people. I'm actually a very educated investigator. We'll get to that. Let me finish the story about the Anderson Hotel then. So then we continued on, and probably the most famous or the second most famous room, there was this 19-year-old girl. She came all the way from Michigan to this hotel in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky. Nobody really knows much about her backstory. I can just tell you what we got from talking to her. First of all, I'll tell you more history of the room, and then I'll tell you what we got. So you go in this room.
No.
You'll have told me everything.
This isn't something that we're going to be going to, is it?
This ain't a place you're going to take us to, is it? Because I'll just repeat everything you just told me, and I'll come out looking really cool.
Well, it's a place. If you guys want to go, I can probably arrange it for us to go. They don't. Yeah.
Don't tell us anything about it.
So the little girl, she for some reason she drew pictures with crayon. Nobody knows why crayon, but she drew pictures with crayon and wrote Bible verses underneath. And they're hanging all over the room. They're still there. They're still hanging on the room. And then she cut her wrist, and her bloodstained mattress is still there.
Interesting.
So
I don't think we've ever had any entity tell us to leave. Have we? Have you ever?
Nah.
I don't think we've ever had that
No.
they've asked us to leave.
It was different. So she didn't want to talk to me at first. She was okay with talking to the ladies, but she didn't want to talk to me. And I've had that before. I've even had spirits tell me to leave because my energy was too strong, and I was like, well, that probably means I need to stay. But we finally got her talking by singing Amazing Grace, and then she started talking. And what we can figure out is apparently somebody broke her heart in Michigan, and she came to Kentucky to restart, but she was too overwhelmed and ended up committing suicide.
Those people from Michigan, they'll do it to you.
Yeah.
Wait, we've got friends from Michigan.
Oh yeah, we've got a few friends in Michigan. No, not everybody.
Not everybody.
I have a sister-in-law in Michigan, so I agree. So then there's two more bloodstained mattresses for suicides, and then back to the room. We come to find out the guy's name was.
What brand of mattress is it? Maybe it's the mattress brand. Maybe that's what does it.
Well, my thing is, with them keeping those things, they wanted to stay violently active, because why else would you keep those? So then we get back to the room with his. We found out his name was John. So John is not a nice guy. John was not demonic, but he was definitely malicious. And what I tell people all the time is, if you were a dickhead when you were alive, you're going to be a dickhead when you're a ghost. And that's what John was. John ran prostitutes in and out of the hotel, and then he drunk himself to the point that he was drunk. So I already told you about my episode with the closet. So the girls, they came up there, and this is still the best EVP I got. So my niece is on my team, and at this time she was 19. She's 21 now, so she was 19 then. So she gets up there, and she decides to use the prostitute angle to get the conversation going. So she goes up there, and she's like, I'm 19 and cute. Can I get a job? And the response we got, and I'm telling you, I still have this recording. The response was $50 and free room.
He's cheap, isn't he?
So what ended up happening was Tiffany, who was one of my investigators, she actually got grabbed in her women area, and that's where we ended the investigation. So when I say it was a violent, yeah. So
then they had to investigate.
So at that point, I decided it was more about the safety of my team than it was the investigation. So
yeah, we've never had any of that, have we?
Nope.
I've never. I don't think I've ever had any of that.
Well, we had one incident.
Oh, here we go.
Someplace that we went to, we obviously brought something home that was not really nice.
Must have been you. Couldn't have been me.
I saw this dark mass go down the hallway, and I told Michael about it, and he just sort of like, okay, whatever. So he was in the shower, and he got out of the shower, and I was just talking to him, and while we were standing there, there were 3 scratches that came up right on his chest. So that's when I decided I had to do something about it. So that night when we went to sleep, because I could feel this entity, and I asked my guides to help me with this, and they just said, call him to you, and we'll take care of it. So that's what I did. I could feel him straight on top of me, and then I told my guides, take him away, and it was gone. So I don't have any fear of the.
They put the spiritual handcuffs on him and yanked him off.
Because I know that we're protected quite a bit.
And then they declawed him. Yeah.
So
I don't know if that's like declawing a cat, but I'm sure it's just as painful.
So learning to use my guides, that's still something that I'm still learning. Like I said, I grew up in Western Kentucky, and I tell people all the time, now this ain't just the Bible Belt. This is the heart of the Bible Belt. We have a church in every corner.
Oh yeah.
I really I thought they were just strange. I thought they were just strange-looking buildings.
Huge buildings.
There just seemed to be a lot of them,
So I got growing up a lot. I mean, obviously, I was born with my gift, and I actually acknowledged my gift really when I was about 8 years old. The first time I remember seeing them and speaking to them, I was 6, but I wanted to pretend like I was. I don't know. I didn't want to admit it, I guess. And then, so growing up, I used to get a whole lot of, "Oh, you're a tool of the devil," oh, blah blah blah, and then. So like when I was 12, 13, like by 8th grade year in school, right? Me and my best friend, he's not with us anymore, but for whatever reason, we both decided that we didn't care what anybody thought anymore, and we were going to do whatever we could to educate ourselves. So we started checking out like every book we could in the library, which was mostly like Lorraine Warren's books and a few others. And so we started checking. We actually got called down to the principal's office and asked us, because I don't know what they thought, but they actually called us down to the principal's office because we were checking out books on parapsychology. And so it actually took me moving away from home before I actually could. And I still get that a lot since I moved back. But now thanks to our parapop culture, I also get, oh, you mean like ghost hunters or ghost adventure? I was like, not really, but okay. But yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, when I decided that I was actually going to learn to use my gift, I dived all the way in. I actually have a degree in parapsychology from West Georgia University. I have 2 degrees in theology from Louisville Bible College. I'm a trained demonologist under Bishop Long in the Old Catholic Church. So I wanted to learn everything. I feel knowledge is power. So and
I don't have any certificate.
No, me neither. I feel kind of like, I don't know. I feel kind of weird. I got no bits of paper or anything.
No. I guess we got to get some.
I'll go getting some made up.
Okay.
I'll get one of the AI to make one up.
I don't necessarily think anybody needs that piece of paper, but I like having it that way. For instance, one time I was on another podcast and somebody wanted to try to argue with us about biblical, about whether.
Yeah. So Michael knows more about the Bible than most.
I'm pretty knowledgeable about the Bible, but if I get them, what are those people that come around the door all neat and tidy in their shirts? What are those guys?
Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, yeah. So I usually try and invite them in and tell them what we do. That's my gig.
Yeah, that's fun.
I've done that since I was like.
So I was on Rob and Sarah's show, and somebody come up there, and Sarah's like, well, she's like, I'm going to tell you something that most people don't know. We actually have a Bible scholar. So she brought me on there. And what I find funny, first of all, I don't consider myself a Bible scholar, but anyway, but what I find funny is the people in the religious field that try to argue against paranormal research, they always try to use Leviticus. and the verse that they try to use in Leviticus and Ezekiel, and the verse that they try to use in Ezekiel in the King James version, which is one that they always want to quote. In the King James version, it says, "Don't talk to the dead because you don't know if they're good or evil." Okay, that's what the King James.
Well, they don't know
Yeah.
who's good or evil
See,
because they can't talk to them, so they don't know.
In
So,
Corinthians, I think it's in Corinthians 2, 15 something. It talks about sure you can talk to the dead, but just make sure that you know who they are. That's really what it says. You've got to identify them. You can't just.
you know something? I couldn't give a rat's ass what people think about. I really couldn't. These people like, oh yeah, it says here, it says this book, it says this. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Is that all you know? A book? You just
Absolutely.
You don't. You know things, but you don't know. It's as simple as that.
Well, and that's why I am now. Now, I can't say I was always that way, but yeah, that's why I am now. But what I find interesting is all these people, they want to use King James Bible anyway. But the thing about the King James Bible...
we know King James Bible was all tampered with. And
it's a paraphrase Bible.
Yeah.
And so if you take the actual Latin translation of Ephesians, it actually... The King James Version leaves out a very important phrase. And Marty, you touched on earlier. The actual word for word translation says, "Do not talk to the dead unless you are trained or educated or gifted, because you do not know if they're good or evil." So that sentence is a very important sentence that they left out. So yeah, but
my favorite Bible is the one translated from Aramaic. I've got the Aramaic translated Bible, and Jesus spoke Aramaic. He didn't speak Hebrew. He spoke a lot of different languages, obviously. He's a genius, really. But
I have three different...
The language of the day was Aramaic. So I have the Aramaic Bible, and that's a very interesting Bible because I'll give an example. In Aramaic, where it says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, the translation in Aramaic is a rope.
It's not a camel.
Not
it's
a camel.
Rope.
It can be a rope. So that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense to say, that's like saying it's easier for my house to go through the eye of a needle. You could say anything. It's easier for a boat. I mean, it makes no sense. But if you say it's easier for a rope, then well, that means it can go through. So how would you get a camel through, for God's sakes? But you could get a rope through because you pull it apart and you get it through bit by it'll take you forever, but you'll get it through. And it makes sense because a rope is like a thread, but much bigger and harder. So the translations in there, and I'll tell you what, when you're in Kentucky, there's another parallel to what Jesus said to one of the disciples. He said, I think it was it Paul or John? I can't remember. And he says, go to this place and don't stop and talk to anyone. Don't even say hello. And the reason that this guy who translated this Bible, who speaks Aramaic, he said the reason for this is if he'd stopped and said hello to anybody, before he knew it, he'd be in the house. They'd be giving him dinner. They'd be introducing him to all their family. They'd be chatting to him all night. Stay overnight. He'd never get there because that's how people were. And they're very like that in Kentucky.
Very much
You stand
so.
and say hello to someone, and before you know it, you're there half an hour. And they're blah, 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 blah.
It is.
I love it. But it's the same parallel. You know what I mean?
So, here's my bottom line of the whole religious thing.
Don't even wave at anyone. I mean, everybody here waves at everybody, which is great. But if you want to get somewhere, don't talk to them because you won't get there.
No,
it's a bit like the same thing in the Bible.
So my whole This is my bottom line. This is where I go now when everybody wants to argue with me. I'm like you. I'm not even arguing anymore. The hell with it. But this is what I tell you. My gifts were given to me from God, and God don't make mistakes. So therefore, my gifts are to be used for His glory. So apparently, they're good. And that's it.
Yeah,
that's how I.
Well, that's you, and that's us. But a lot of people don't use them the right way.
Well, that's true.
There are a lot of powerful people in the world that use things. Their same abilities, but they use them toward evil ends. So
just like we have the group that I'm not even going to mention that the day after Ozzy Osbourne died, they posted that they talked to him on the device, and if you want to hear it, they would send it to you for however much money.
Oh.
That's the part of the field that I don't like, that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because
does Ozzy get a share of it? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. He should. I mean,
he should, right?
So I'm
maybe
sure Ozzy.
Maybe he'll appear out of the floor in the living room and stare at them and say, "Where's my money?"
That'd be great.
All right. Yeah. So that's actually one of the questions I usually ask. So since we're kind of talking about it, let's go ahead and talk about it. So the parapop culture, that's my word, parapop culture. That's your TV shows, your YouTube, all that stuff. So in your guys' opinion, what's the good from the parapop culture and what's the bad of the parapop culture?
In the field, you mean, in this whole field?
Yeah.
Well, it's been good to us.
Yeah.
And it's helped us because it helped us get more known, so we can actually go out and help more people.
Yeah. So it has good.
And try to, we've gotten on the shows, we've shown people the proof of it, so more people will believe it. There are some not so good ones.
Paranormal State. He Ryan Buell, he doesn't believe in any of it. It's just a money spinner for him. He just makes money. He thought when we appeared on the episode of his show, he thought some cameraman had told us everything. He actually said that to us, and I said, and so he was basically calling us frauds. He's an asshole.
But it's not just that, too. There are shows that have what they say are people that have abilities that we know for a fact that they don't.
Yeah, so we never talk about who they are or anything like that.
But that's one thing that the TV industry can do is promote the wrong people.
Well, they promote them for different. They have agendas, and they promote people because of how they look at things and how they want to promote and who they want to promote. And some people, they like to control everything. And editing too is a big thing. It's all to do with the editing. Whoever edits it, that's what you see. So I mean, I'm very happy with what Ghost Adventures did. Those guys, they really left us alone to do our thing. They never messed with us. It was fun. It was really fun. We had a
great time.
It was quite magical, really, doing it with them.
We never had a problem with something happening. It was always.
Everything was, like I say, quite magical. It was meant to be. some other things that we've done, like I say, people have tried to mess with us and just screw with us. And but
How about Shmooly?
oh yeah, we actually went on. I don't know if you know who Rabbi Shmooly is. I didn't know he was this really well-known asshole, which he is. But anyway, so we get invited on Rabbi Shmooly. I thought he was just some two-bid rabbi somewhere, you know. So we get on his show, and he was started to be a real jerk. And about halfway through it, I said, "Well, see ya. I've had enough of you." And we hung up on him, you know. I don't like to be messed around by people. I couldn't care less who they are, really. But if people are genuine and they're, you know, they're honest and genuine, I don't mind doing anything with them. But if someone's a jerk, I won't. I'm not interested in all the promotion stuff and all the fame and all that. It's only a means to an end so that I can help more people. If people know who we are, a lot of people do call us and say, "I saw you on TV" and that, but I really don't know where they come from. They just, the phone rings or they contact us and I have no idea where they're coming from, you know.
I had the same thing. I mean, I consider myself, and a lot of people tell me they like me, like this and me. I consider myself a nobody. I mean, I realize I'm not. I realize I have a little bit of a following, and I realize, but to me, I'm just a nobody. To me, I'm an investigator. That's what I am. Like you said, all this is just a means to the end to get my. So I did the Smoky Mountain Terror there in outside of there in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and you know it's a big thing. Well, I expected nobody to know who I was or to really give a shit who I was. But I was amazed at how many people already knew who I was and how many people came and talked to me and stuff. So, yeah, I definitely get that. And I'm on the same page as you. So, to me, the good of the parapop culture is just like you guys said. It makes we're out there more, so it's more open to talk about. So now, when I'm down here eating at Pizza Inn and people find out I'm a paranormal investigator, I still get some of the that's evil, but I get a lot of the that's cool. So yeah, but then I'm the same way as you guys. I'm all about working with anybody. I will cooperate with anybody in this. You're faking stuff, or you're in it. Or if you just
if we found out people were faking stuff or thought that they were, you know, doing it for different reasons or whatever,
if you're faking stuff or you're doing it for the wrong reasons, I will call you out. Just like like I call out. And one of these days, I'm probably going to get sued, but that's okay because I don't care. I call out Sam and Kobe all the time.
I don't know. We don't. Honestly, we don't follow a lot of the shows and all that kind of stuff because, honestly, with us, the stuff we do, he was on the door. I'm like, oh God, all right. So
that's okay. My dog is right here by my feet. So
sit there.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah. So what was I saying?
You was gonna say you're not at very many of the shows. So Sam and Kobe, they're a you're not missing much. They're a YouTube thing. They're a product of YouTube, but they got in it just for the money. They managed to get a movie released where they were looking for the skinwalkers, which made it even worse. But this is why I call them out. So I'm not gonna call out anybody unless you start making the people that do it real, if you start making it hard on us. So we went to investigate the Harriman Hospital there in Tennessee. We got there, and before we could investigate, they informed us that we could not release our video or go live until it's approved by the hospital because Sam and Kobe went live and started screaming everything was a demon.
Well, it's a similar kind of thing to when we do work on cold cases.
Mhm.
I found out with our friend that would bring us to do solve cold cases, like 20-year-old cases and stuff, missing people and that, and we solved them. And I asked him, like, why can't we do some more with some of the other sheriffs and detectives, and you must know them all. And he's like, yeah. Well, he told us that, and he told us who they were, 3 or 4 very well-known psychics calling themselves mediums, who would put off the police so bad that they won't use psychics anymore. I said, are you serious? He's like, yeah, they just won't use them anymore because of these people, because they're just full of shit, really.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So I consider myself, Paducah, Kentucky is my hometown, but because of my grandparents, I spent just as much time in Carroll, Illinois, and Wycliffe, Kentucky. So I consider all of them my hometown. So in Carroll, which Carroll's just a ghost town, period, they have this mansion that I've been trying to investigate my whole life. And they won't let anybody investigate it because they had a bad experience with a team during COVID. They let a team come in there during COVID because they needed the money, and they damaged some of the property, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And it kills me because this location, from a historical standpoint, it was during the Civil War. It was General Grant's headquarters when he invaded Kentucky, and then he stayed there twice when he was president. So I mean, just a historical standpoint. Hi, Kitty. So yeah, so that's when I call people out. When you start screwing it up for the rest of us. My friend from Scotland, he calls Sam and Kobe. He says they're the Spice Girls of the paranormal field. So if that gives you any idea how credible they are,
I don't know.
I think that's why we don't follow a lot on the paranormal, because there's so much
either.
backstabbing. And
Me, I don't either. Honestly, when it comes to me, I don't follow a lot of the. Let's see what Jason said. The combination. Exactly right.
yeah,
And,
is there anyone in the chat?
Jason there.
Oh, hi. Oh, I see. Hi, Jason.
Jason, I still got to get you back on the show too, sir. You know that, right? Yes. So I don't watch very many of the shows at all, just because when I watch them, I'm like, that's not how it really is and stuff. So I don't watch them. I had got what I watched. I was watching one for a while because they were pretty. I thought they seemed pretty legit for a while, and then I watched the episode where they was using their phone as the EMF reader, and I was like, that's not right. So and so after, but yeah, so this is how much I don't watch the shows. So last season, and he's one of my good friends now. Last season, Angie Thompson was going to be on my show. He was actually a speaker at my Paracon last year, but he was going to be on the show. Well, unfortunately, what most people know him from is he was on 28 Days Haunted on Netflix. Well, I had never seen. I was the same way, guys. I had never seen 28 Days Haunted. Had no desire to see it, to be honest. But since he was coming to my show, I decided I needed to binge watch 28 Days Haunted, so I at least know what I was talking about. But the sad thing was, when he got on my show, we immediately clicked, and I kind of feel bad for him because, like I said, most people outside the field anyway recognize him for that show. Well, he's actually been an investigator for like 25 years. I mean, he's actually a serious investigator, but everybody tags him to the show. So I actually kind of feel bad for him. So, yeah. All right, so let's move on. Enough talking about pop culture. Tell me how you guys first got into doing what you do.
Oh, jeez. We've said this so many times. Yeah, Marty hit me over there with a frying pan, and then suddenly I could hear dead people. No, No, I've been involved in this field since I was about 15, 16 onward. And so I'm nearly 70 now. So I've been into this stuff for a long time. And well, it just became very loud later in life. And then when I met Marty, I felt like she should do something with her art.
Well,
something
first
really.
we were going to do healing.
Yeah, yeah. I thought we would be doing healing mostly, and then basically that's when I started hearing them real loud. And so Marty, I thought, what can she do? So she's an
I
artist.
don't hear that much.
She's an artist. She's you know. Is that's your picture of your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she paints. She's a really good artist, and I was getting from the spirit world that she could do something really unique, something, I mean, what sets an artist apart from another one? Their uniqueness, right? So one day I was telling her, like, why don't you put a little gnome in there or something in the field, So she painted all these flowers and put a little kind of pixie. It was like a little pixie in there, hidden. You'd have to really look to find it. I don't know. I just felt like she was going to do something magical,
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I said to her, why don't you sit down while I'm at work and draw someone, just sketch someone, and we'll figure out who it is. And when I got home, she'd drawn this guy.
That he didn't recognize.
I didn't know who he was. And
so I just put it on the table. We had a coffee table, put it on the coffee table, and we had a small meditation group that evening. And
the first person that came was a young woman.
And she picked up the picture and said, oh my God, that's my boss that was murdered a year ago today.
It was the anniversary of his death when Marty drew it. And she brought the newspapers in, and he lived up the hill about 2 miles from us. And he was a multi-millionaire. He gave away about $70 million before he died. He was robbed and murdered up on the hill. And that was the very first one that Marty drew. And then after that, it was a process of getting her to sit with me and draw someone. And sure enough, off she went. She started.
It took me a little while to get the...
I smacked her over the head with a frying pan, and before I knew it, so that is a long story how we met and all that. I'm not going to get into all that. It's too much. But
this is only an hour show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So yeah.
So I find it interesting, and I think Marty, I think you actually made a post about this a while back. I think it's interesting that most people don't quite understand how it works when they come to somebody. They kind of expect us to. I guess they think it's magic more than anything, and they kind of expect us to just be able to communicate with whoever they want us to communicate with, and it doesn't really work that way.
That the people on the other side are still people, and they have things to do. They're not sitting on your shoulder 24 hours.
Well, they organize it.
And
the spirit. It's organized by the spirit world, and
you don't know what they have in mind. It might be that you don't really need that information, but your best friend is really suffering over her husband dying. So her husband's going to come through and give you a message to give it her.
Yeah, I did a session with Marty a few nights ago, and there were a couple of people for her. I think it was her dad, or I can't remember exactly. But there was this young guy who was also wanted to speak, who I couldn't figure out who he was to her. Maybe he said something about a friend. And he told me his name was Mark, and he died tragically. Well, I had a best friend when I was young, my best friend called Mark, and he was hit by a train. And I was thinking for a second, maybe it was him. Maybe it's my friend. Why would he be here? Well, she has her friend lost her son. His name's Mark, and he jumped in front of a train. So then I knew that was not my friend, but her friend's son, Mark. It was just so odd that my friend Mark was hit by a train, and this guy's hit by a train as well.
So
Jason
has a question.
Yeah.
Jason wants to know.
Okay.
Jason wants to know if you're still doing art.
Well,
and you offer for sale.
The art. I haven't been doing any painting. I will be doing more painting after we get more settled here. But every time we do a session,
Marty draws.
I draw somebody for that person.
Yeah.
So that's
where's that one you did
that. So that's not for sale. That's
yeah. That's part of the.
That's part of the
session. Where's the one you did the other night?
It's in the other room.
Oh. Okay.
So every. That's.
It's part of when we do a session for a client.
Yeah, then so Marty, it's not really for sale because it belongs to that person.
Yeah. So if you want a session, then Marty will draw one of the people that has come to say hello to you.
Just like he never knows who's gonna talk, I never know who's gonna show up to have their portrait drawn.
Well, that's why I told you about Mark. I mean, she wasn't expecting to hear from Mark, her friend's son, but she said that she paid for a session for a medium for her, but it didn't work out or something. She said, "Oh, I don't think she was ready." And Mark said to me he couldn't get through. He couldn't speak to his mum, and so I don't think anything happened with that medium, whoever it was. And because he said he wanted to say hello to his mum, he hasn't been able to say hello to her, And so I said, if she wants to do it, fair enough. But he just wants to let her know he's all right,
So, yeah. So I think it's interesting. I mean, as you guys know, the spirits choose who they talk to and who talks. So I mentioned earlier, you were talking about your friend. I mentioned earlier my best friend who I got started in the field.
Yeah, don't tell me about your friend, because maybe when we meet up, he might come in and say hello.
Okay.
So
we'll hold her to that until we meet. How's that? That works for me.
Exactly. Maybe he'll pop by and say hello.
Yeah. I will leave some mystery to me until we meet.
Well, you've got to do that. You see, you've got to do that. I tell people that who become our friends over the years, I have a rule. I say to them, look, if you want to hear something specific from someone, like something unique or someone you want to hear from, don't talk about them with us. We can talk about anything else. We can, just hang out and talk about whatever. But if you want to hear something, don't blab to me about who they are and what you want to hear or anything like that. Because then I won't be able to do it for you.
Even I did that. For years, I was hoping that he would say this nickname of my brother that, he would have no idea what it was. And
I did?
You finally did.
Oh, I did? Oh.
Well, you were saying Bob and Louie. Bob and Louie. My big brother called him Baba Louie.
Oh, Baba Louie. Oh, that's a weird one. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how it works. So that's what I tell people. I say, if you want to hear like out of left field, don't talk about it. And then it'll happen. Like we have one of our friends. She was on the show Ghost Adventures as well, right? Well, one night we did a session for a lady, and I'll answer your question in a sec. Good question. Have we ever picked up on the energy of someone who's still alive? Well, I wouldn't say picked up on the energy, but the person on the other side will talk about people that are alive. Absolutely.
They will give me the impression of that person where I can draw them. The thing is, though, that Michael has talked to people that are still alive, but that are in a coma.
Yeah, yeah. So they're in a coma, or they're so far gone with Alzheimer's that they don't know who their daughter is anymore. And it's late at night, and we're doing it, and whoever I'm talking to brings the mother to the session in the astral state so that they can communicate. They're like dreaming, you know, they're in the dream world, and they bring them to us, and they can actually talk to their daughter. So we've had that maybe a dozen times now that's happened. So that's very interesting. But when they discuss people that are alive, it's always someone over there talking about them. They'll tell me what's wrong with them. Oh, you know, they're dying of cancer, and they'll be around for another 4 months or so. Don't worry. Bob will meet
Or
them,
we've
you know,
gotten
whoever it
a
is.
warning. We've had people on the other side say you've got to go talk to this person because they're going to commit suicide.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and they do, and they are able to prevent it. So
yeah. There have been a couple of times where I realized they were trying to prevent suicide, and I didn't manage to get the message across that you know, that I thought the person had died. They tried to tell us about 9/11 2 days before it happened. They told us lots of future things. So they're fully aware of what's going on, you know, and yeah, it's amazing what they can tell you, really.
All right, so we're almost out of time, but I want
Time. And
almost out of time.
That's
So-
good. He can't tell us any more shit about himself,
yeah, that's
which
good.
is good. So when we meet him,
So I do want you guys, if you don't mind, to explain to everybody, because obviously, if people haven't really figured it out yet, you guys are going to be one of the speakers at my West Kentucky Paranormal Expo on September 27th. So let everybody know exactly, like your workshop, what you guys are going to be doing, so we can get you more people.
Yeah,
right.
I'm hoping more people will sign up for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing a demonstration of what we do. I'll be giving a talk, I think. I think that's
Yeah,
what you said.
I think so.
And we'll be hanging out there, and I think you're doing an investigation there, aren't you?
Yes, I'm waiting for the place to give me the official okay, but the plan is we're going to
The plan is
investigation.
to do that, right? Yeah.
Right.
So obviously we'll be doing some of that with you and whoever's there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good. It's going to be a good event.
It's going to
I
be.
hope
I hope so.
Yeah.
So the group sessions are always great because they have such good energy. You never know who's going to be coming through. So it's, there's no, the people in the front row don't get things, it's whoever is the loudest.
What was the?
Well, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret that only you're going to be, you and everybody listening now are going to be on the secret. I am working on taking, and it'll be part of the workshop if you guys want it to be. If not, we can do it privately after or before. We have a missing person that's been missing for like 2 years now, and there's been no new leads. So I'm waiting to get blessing from the family and from we already got permission from my friend who's the chief deputy of the sheriff's department, but I want to get
Well, yeah, the least we know, the better. And
I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, what you know now is all you're getting from me.
That's good. I was just making sure that you zip it right there and don't tell me anything.
If we could work,
I'm not telling you. The only other thing I'm going to say is I'm waiting for the family's blessing. I don't want to do it They're okay with it. Other than that, that's all I'm saying. All
All
right.
right.
So thank you for being on the show. We will
Okay.
talk again soon.
All right.
And
I
if
guess
anyone's interested in a private session, go to our website. It's spiritart.com.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Tell everybody how to find you. And I guess I did okay. I'm a
You
little bit
did
rusty,
pretty
guys.
good, yeah, you did pretty good. I didn't have to really get the duct tape out, did I?
No,
It's pretty good, really.
It's my first episode. It's my first episode of the month. But thanks everybody for tuning back in. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for being on the show. And I guess I'll see you in
We'll see you
not
soon.
too long, about a month. Yep.
Yeah,
All
not
right.
too
Thanks
long.
everybody.
All right, my friend.